Your time is now. The world needs leaders. It's up to you to answer the call. Be better in business. Be better in life. Joined by our host, Chris Book. This is Leading by the Book.
Hey guys, welcome to Leading by the Book. I'm Chris Book. Hope your week is off to a good start. If you're new to the show, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts if you do like the show. If you want to get in touch with us, as always, you can get in touch with me on leadingbythebook.com or on LinkedIn or on Twitter at Chris Book. Love seeing a lot of the questions you guys have shared, and we try to address those as much as we can in the episodes that we post here. One bit of housekeeping, and this is a very, very big bit of housekeeping. For next week's show, we will be interviewing Andy Stumpf. Andy is a retired Navy SEAL, served 17 years in the Navy. He was a member of SEAL Team 6 and several other SEAL teams, highly decorated time in the Navy. And since then, he's gone on to a great consulting career for a variety of big businesses, teaching them leadership acumen and helping them to build out their leadership teams, as well as holding the world record in a discipline of wingsuit jumping. So really fascinating story. I think you're going to take a lot away from that. So be sure to check us out next week. So with the show business out of the way, this week, I want to address one of the most commonly asked questions, to me at least, about leadership. And that question is pretty simple. It's how do you know what to do when? So the thing about leadership is that it's very complex. And the reason it's complex is because there's no recipe to do it well. It's kind of like nailing Jell-O to a wall. And in part, that's why leadership is so difficult for so many. They want a formula to follow, and there isn't one. It's far more art than it is science. But luckily, there is a straightforward trick, something that I use and you can use as well, that can help us be a better version of the leader that we all want to be. So, as leaders, or people that want to be better leaders, I should say, we all have things that we want to be. But we stumble in these things. We fall short. We want to be caring. We want to be humble. We want to be intelligent. We want to be thoughtful, generous with our time, and see the best in people and keep our negative emotions in check. And this list can go on because the traits of good leaders are essentially limitless. But we're going to mess up with these things. It's hard to check off every single box on that list. And after all, it's a long list of things to keep straight. It's impossible to ask ourselves to be able to do that. And in the heat of the moment, in a situation that is key to you as a leader, it can be very hard to figure out which of these things we need to do and what the situation specifically dictates. It seems that we've become very fixated on doing one thing well, and then simultaneously we end up losing progress in 3 or 4 other key areas that we're trying to juggle as well. And more often than not, we find ourselves dissecting the situation after criticizing ourselves for not doing better at this or doing better at that. And it can be demoralizing, and it can lead us down a path of incredible self-doubt. Equally tough is when we try to emulate all the attributes of leaders that we see elsewhere, people that we admire. And we've all been around people that are stuck trying to be someone else. We see this a lot with young professionals in their first jobs, trying to do what they read about in college or heard good executives do from a professor. We also see this in people that are more advanced in their careers when they get promoted to a new job or a new role, and they're trying to put all of these things that they learned in leadership books to use right away. The problem is that they come off as robotic and insincere, and it just looks uncomfortable. These folks don't have any idea who they are, as they're more concerned trying to be somebody else, and all it does is come off as clunky and confusing. Respecting one's leadership and behaviors is obviously well and good, but we can't spend our lives trying to be somebody else. That's not authentic. That's not sincere, and our teams will see right through that. No one wants to follow that, and nobody's going to be inspired by that. You can tell when somebody isn't being real with you or is trying to be somebody else. But how do you improve yourself without striving to be someone that you admire or want to emulate? How can we most efficiently and effectively become the people that we want to be, the people that we need to be, the leaders that our families deserve and that our teams need? Well, just like with all solutions, the best solutions, in this case and in all other cases, are the simplest. And that's exactly what we need to do here. Simply ask yourself, if you were sitting on the other side of the table, what would you admire from that person? What would make you want to follow someone? What would make you respect someone? In whatever situation you're in, do that. Simply ask yourself, what would I admire if I was sitting on the other side of the table? If you do that, you will always know the answer. We need to be ourselves. We need to act as the leaders that we ourselves would admire. So let's stop chasing what we think people we idolize would do. Let's do what we know how to do, which is be ourselves and do it well. It's a simple parameter within which to act and operate, but constantly ask yourself, what can I do here that I would respect and admire? This is going to help us to be a better version of ourselves and to be a better leader for those we impact. This question, it needs to be constantly at the forefront of our minds. And it's not confusing, and that's really the key here. You're not going to be combing through a laundry list of character traits trying to figure out which one to apply here and which one to apply there. And guess what? Pretty soon, that person that we respect, that question we're asking ourselves, that person that we're thinking we would admire if we were on the other side of the table, that person is going to become us. That's how we change our behavior. The transformation to being an effective leader is not one that's going to happen overnight. In fact, the harsh truth of it, it's not one that's going to ever be complete. It's an endless quest. But with each passing day, as we add small wins here and small wins there, we can make a radical impact on our lives and our ability to lead. So don't waste time. Let's get started right now. Let's get going down this path to being a better version of ourselves. We cannot afford to waste any of the precious time that we have left. That's all we've got for this week on Leading by the Book. I'd love to hear what you think. Drop me a line on LinkedIn or on Twitter at ChrisBook, and please keep spreading the word to whoever you think can benefit from this show. Join us next week when we have Andy Stumpf on the show for what's going to be a fascinating interview. I'm really excited for you guys to all get a chance to hear his story because he's a truly great guy. This has been Leading by the Book. I'm Chris Book. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.